First of all, guys, welcome to yet another top 5 announcement. The main reason why we're here is, of course, to figure out who's going to be exactly the winner of this challenge. And in order to do so, we have to go through the top 5. For the top 5, we're going to talk about it, see how things go, and we're going to say, for example, what certain things we like about the reports, what certain things we think could be improved. And what we always say is, just remember, guys, that what we say is our opinion. It doesn't mean that every single thing we say must necessarily be included in every single report. No, you always have to still adapt your report to your actual target audience. You have to talk with them, you have to figure them out, you have to understand what sort of psychology they have behind it, what they're trying to figure out with the reports, and there's a lot of different questions that you need to answer. But we're going to give you our best of our feedback. We're going to go through the top 5. We're going to announce the winner, of course. And at the end, we're also going to be having the Q&A session. So if you do have any questions throughout the session, make sure to post them in the comments. We're going to go through them afterwards. No issues whatsoever.
Okay, but, I go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Carry on,
yeah, sure.
carry on. Okay, I got my friend Ifeani Menike in the greetings. As Aivis said, when I created together with the Challengers group, this community, this group, was not to be perfect. To the opposite, we want you to make mistakes, learn from them, and improve on those mistakes. Okay, so whatever Aivis says, or whatever Aishi says, or whatever Federico says, is our personal view. Okay, and it can be different. It's not in any way judging, okay, your prowess in Power BI. Is the little tricks that you can actually pick up from our conversation to get you better. There is no winner. For me, there is no winner or losers. Okay? Everybody participating is a winner for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think participating itself is part of the challenge, right? Just because I remember when I started off, I was afraid to participate in these challenges. I thought that my work is never good enough. So most of the time I just sit there on the sidelines. But then afterwards you realize it's better if I would have participated, then I actually would have learned a lot more. So
I encourage people to participate. I am a person that made himself due to participating in challenges. I am, today I got my job and I'm in this webinar because I start participating in challenges, getting better, and people start noticing me. From that, more opportunity to talk in webinars, more opportunity to employment, more opportunity to carry on growing on LinkedIn with the community. So everything for me started because of my participation in challenges. So hey.
Absolutely. And yeah.
Have you a story?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because see, in data analysis or data visualization, we say like we are fortunate people, though we are able to exhibit our skills, and we can put them to use, because we have before Federico Pastor started these challenges, I think we have an Onyx, or maybe Maven was there. So we have the challenges where we can participate, and we can actually implement what we have learned. And we can also see ourselves in the global plane. You know, we can evaluate our own self compared to the other people, how the people are thinking globally, not just restricting ourselves to some of the people, group of the people. So I think this is the best platform, like any of they are very, very much skills.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right. So I think before we go into the actually top 5, right, we have a very quick chat before, but one important thing is, well, you know me and Federico. We've always been here, and we'll probably always be here until the end of times. But we do have a special guest here. So without further ado, Ashish, in few words about yourself, what could you tell?
Sorry, come again?
In few words about yourself, what would you say?
Yeah, first and foremost is my tagline. Like I'm working as a not working as a, but I'm one of the community representative of Microsoft Core PBI Core Visuals. That is the first thing. Second thing, I'm working at my own as a freelance data analyst as well. I've been working on some of the projects right now, especially with some of the companies in Middle East as well. So that's all about me. I started my data analysis career with the same thing, what the same platform kind of thing we can say, through the challenges, and I keep on posting my work on the LinkedIn, and today I'm here, down the line 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, guys. Now you also know a little bit more about Ashish. All right, I think without further ado, we can actually start to go through the reports, right? The main thing why we're all here. I mean, the chatter is great, but they probably want to know who's the winner and who's in the top five. So, Alexander, if you could change the screen to the shared one.
Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. There we go. All right, so yeah, like I said, this is going to be the FP20 Analytics November Challenge overview, and one of the reports that has gotten itself into the top five comes from Zakaria Fadili. So congratulations to Zakaria for getting into the top five. Now let's take a closer look at the report and see what we think about it. So let's open up the embedded version. So first of all, what I would like to say about this, I very much like the clean design. I feel that it doesn't feel like there's just too much information, random visuals all over the place or anything. It's very nicely, neatly color coded as well. There's one thing I liked about it, right? It's kind of small, right? A lot of people might not even notice it, but when you move between the pages, you actually get into the darker shades from the same color scheme. So it's kind of a small thing, but it really feels like
Yeah.
you have thought about the whole experience and how the user navigates between the pages and everything. So that's first of all. Regarding the visuals itself, so showcasing, for example, the increases year over year, that's great. And also knowing to limit the visual to only 1 year is great, because otherwise if you would be showcasing both years, well, half of them would have the comparison and the other one wouldn't have. So it's kind of good approach also to limit to just one particular view. One thing though that I would probably adjust here slightly would also be not necessarily as a visual, so for example, not necessarily as a column, but maybe just as a value in the tooltip to showcase the actual value for that previous year, so that I can just quickly compare and see what the values were. Alternatively, maybe as a stack column that would just showcase, for example, what's the difference between the previous and the current year. It's not necessary, it's just few ideas to kind of think about, but I like this approach as well. For these, I like that you utilize the field parameters, and this is what we're always been talking about. Don't forget, guys, the field parameters hold a lot of power. They basically allow you to utilize multiple visuals in a single visual instance. You can just switch between the categories. Sure, you're not able to directly switch between the values. For that, you need a different field parameter, but you allow the user to kind of play around with different views and different dimensions on the same landscape. So it's very space efficient. For the scatter plot, that's all good. You can zoom in also into smaller details. But one thing that I would probably do here is explain to the user why exactly this area is highlighted. Because there is probably a reasoning behind it, right? Whether it's the target area where we wanted to get, or that's the trouble area, whatever it is, just give some sort of insight to the end user, why was this highlighted? Maybe as a tooltip, for example, right next to the name, or something like that. That was my first impression. Like, I wanted to understand, why is this highlighted, right? The ability to switch between them, that's fine. Switching between the revenue and the volume is great. The only other thing on this page, and then we're going to move on to the other ones, is regarding these numbers right here. I'd say this is one of the examples of why you need to be careful about the color choices. Whilst it's completely fine to use it as the primary color in categories and everything, I wouldn't use it necessarily in KPIs, because the first thought process is red means something bad. KPIs I would keep on a black color. The columns itself, that's fine. But as soon as I see numbers, it's just psychological. That's what I started to kind of sort of connect in my brain. It's not necessarily, I mean, 212 million. I don't think you can kind of complain about it, but you know, you never know. So that's one thing that I would probably kind of think about of adjusting and just keeping them black. Keep them in the default font color. I don't know, Ashish, from your side, maybe about this page. Any comments, anything?
Yeah, for the uh, we can see the variance in the charts as well, but
Mhm.
I'm not sure the variances are there. I'm not able to see them.
On the KPI cards, no, it's just the total
Yeah,
numbers.
yeah. But I think they are the total numbers, right? So
Yeah.
there is, but maybe he can provide some more by uh, these 2 years, like if it's not 2022 23 are then.
hmm Okay. Going to other pages, I'd say it's still very clean. I like the fact that you actually spent the time and made sure that people are sort of associating colors with certain parts of the data. Like for example, right here you can see in table there's a very small column, and I like the fact that you also actually hid it with an invisible character. You're utilizing the background color conditional formatting, and you're just making it look nice and clean, and users can connect that this others is the same others that you're talking about here. Those are small little things, but they make a lot of difference when it comes to the overall experience. So I love that approach as well. And for item details, I've always said this and I'm going to keep saying this. As much as you guys think you can get away from the tables, you just can't. At some point, people are going to come back to you and say, hey, I want to see the row level data for it, because there might be some orders and anything like that. So a table view is just something that's going to come in eventually. In the table, what I would love to see is maybe a bit more utilization of conditional formatting. For example, we can see the revenue and the volume, but I would also want to see, for example, the same comparison that you had here over the year-over-year growth.
Yeah.
Since you're focusing on that number, I want to see it also here. But other than that, from my side, I'd say it's a very good job. It's neatly done, it's clean, it's simple, and it does the job very efficiently. I don't know, Ashish,
I
from your
think,
side,
yeah.
any other comments?
Yeah, one thing is that I've noticed is, even though I asked like what is the others in the revenue, the
hmm
others are the accumulation of the manufacturers, right? So they are
Yeah.
not particular company. So keep the others at the last, because top five has to be there. So you should segregate the others from the other manufacturers. Otherwise, this is a wonderful design, like especially very neat and clean, colors, awesome colors and everything. Like it's very eye pleasing. Everybody would like to
hmm
definitely have a look at it once. So that's there. Even though in the second page, like CY and PY comparison, I'm sure he might have used the SVGs there to show this target CY versus PY in
Which one?
this table. In this table, first table, like
Oh,
no,
so yep,
second
going
page.
back,
This
no
this
worries.
yeah,
Yeah.
same page. In the table, we have a last column. This is current year versus
Yeah.
previous year. So I think that's a use of SVGs, if I'm not wrong, to
Most
create.
likely,
And
yeah. Looking
yeah,
at
Yeah,
it, yeah,
it
it's
is, it
an
is, it is, it
base
is.
yeah,
64
it
SVG,
is.
yeah.
So in this table we can see, like he has given us some of the indicators, and very essential part of any ad dashboard. Any they have to communicate some of the indications, and they are there in this table. We cannot see there in the last one, but we can see it here. So it's good part as well.
Absolutely.
I would like to say something
Sure.
because I love the layout, the simplicity, the color,
Yeah.
the alignment of the report. I actually love it. Zakaria, I'm gonna copy it. I'm not gonna copy your report, not exactly the same, but I guarantee you that somehow I will use that color palette and some of the layout. I love it. Well done, Zakaria.
Yes. Yeah.
Very well done. Good job.
Well done.
All right, going to the next one. So the next submission that has gotten itself into the top 5 comes from Agbata Dickson. So congratulations to you in getting into the top 5. Now let's open up the report and take a closer look at it. So yeah, me and Federico are gonna have a crack at this, right? So for me, when I take a look at it, first of all, I've said it before because it's a similar design to what you had previously. I love the design because it allows you to focus on one particular thing, and that is the analysis of a particular category, and then the view for that is strictly for that one, which is great. I love it. But there are a few things. Like for example, if I select something here, the selection shouldn't affect anything else.
Yeah, that's the filtering
These should be
problem,
disconnected. Because otherwise it's an unnecessary filter that gets passed out to everything else. It slows down performance, and at the end of the day, you're not really getting anything from it, right? So that's one thing. The other thing, it's purely, I understand why you did it this way, but one thing that just doesn't get sort of disappear from my mind is I would love these to be in an order, a descending or ascending, but I understand why you did it because alphabetically you can force them and always have them in the same place, right? Theoretically, whereas the values can swap between based on how you're doing in that particular month. But it's just something that always gets into my eyes and like, yeah, I just wanted to have it that way. I understand it's difficult to achieve, but it's something that you might have think about. What else? Whenever I'm looking at, for example, the default state of the report, the one thing you're going to notice right here is, for example, in the cards, you actually have month-over-month comparison, which by default is blank. That is great. But there is nothing that tells me that I actually have to select a month to make sure that I'm going to start to trigger, for example, a month-to-month comparison for either a year or anything, or it even seems, yeah, there we go. See? I have to select both of them to trigger the calculation. So something like that would be very good to tell to the users, because otherwise if they don't select this and only interact, for example, with the report, with the categories or anything like that, they're not even going to see the comparison. So that's one of the things. About the navigation, I probably would make it a little bit more obvious just so the user doesn't get lost in it. But for the rest of the pages, I think the approach is still great. I like the layout. It's not too overcrowded. The visuals are there. A small little oversight right here. You can see that the visual goes over the border of the page. You're basically aligning it to the very side of things. But these are very small details that you can easily adjust, so you don't have to worry about this. It's a very quick fix. It takes like 5 seconds. So don't worry about it. Other than that, the KPIs, the only other thing, and this is probably something that Federico is going to notice as well, these are not centered.
Yeah,
Yeah,
took it
I
away
knew
from me.
it.
Yes, and the right one is even to the left. The other ones, they're not 100%, but the three first one are kind of okay. They should be a little bit up, perhaps, but the one on the right is a little bit too much to the left. I'm gonna tell you when that happens. You are tired, you think you have it all done,
Yeah.
you cannot see anymore what you have in front of your screen because understandably you have been looking at that screen for hours. That is the time I have many times mentioned before. Call your girlfriend, your children, mommy, daddy, whoever is in the room with you and check it out, point the mistake. Because believe me, every time people find mistake on this little thing because my eyes are tired.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay? And there is one important thing that Aivis mentioned before. Guys, donut chart, okay, start from the right and go clockwise. No matter what color you have it, that is the order. Top, then smaller. Okay? So there is no excuse just to make it look nicer to break that rule. That is a data visualization rule. You don't break it for the sake of, okay, how good looking it is. We need to make a distinction between, okay, it looks fantastic the data visualization has to be right, and the data visualization has to be right, need to prevail all the time. Numbers are what is important, okay, and then we make it look very, very nice. At the same time, I know Agbata now for a couple of years or maybe more, and I remember he starting, and now he's producing that really good-looking report. And I got a report that I entered in a competition somewhere in the Polynesia, okay? But I didn't went to the Polynesia, but there was and my report is very similar to this one. It had at the top, it had the tone chart, then they had a column, and it repeating itself over the following pages. So people was easy to read. Okay, I need to read the donut chart, and then I need to read the bar charts. Clean, well positioned, a couple of little mistakes. I actually love it very much. I'm one of the people that doesn't read this, how you call it, the plot, the one you showed previously?
The scatter plot.
I don't even know them, no. Yeah. I'm one of the people that, okay, nice. That for me is a machine gun shooting airplane. I can't read that, and because I can't read that, you will not see me ever using it. Okay, but Agbata, fantastic report again, well done, and you are again a top 5.
Yeah, it's an accomplishment in itself, getting here multiple times in a row. So
yes,
congrats.
Not only here on his data in a couple of places, he is doing very well. So I'm very, very happy for his progress and the work he is producing.
Absolutely. And yeah, one thing that we can guys also try is we can try it for this report. Sorry for Zakaria, I forgot to do this, but what do you think? What do you guys think about this report? Just put in an emoji what you think is best represents the feeling that you get from this report, right? Whether it's a smiley face, whether it's the guy with the shades, whatever it is, let us know. So we also know how you feel about these reports, right? Otherwise, it's always just about us.
We have our friend Gundar with the coffee.
Yeah, Gundar is just having a coffee as always.
I remember him from last webinar, the coffee lover. And yes, but that is no excuse for the filters issue. Okay, you cannot click somewhere and everything go blank. There is no excuse for that. Okay.
Yeah. I think
Ashish wanted to say something.
Yeah. The thing is, like what we noticed here is like MOM is blank. Okay, right? Maybe I would suggest Agbata to work more on the DEX, because DEX is not only just to analyze the thing, but it is we use a lot DEX to create the and like MOM can be converted to YOY if only and not the months are selected. So that way you can play with the DEX, and you can because I think he has used the new card is giving you the facility to insert lot many DEX into reference labels as well, right? So you can play with the DEX to deal with all these things, like years are selected, months are selected. If both are selected, if both are not selected, then what has to be displayed? So that way you can make your numbers more meaningful, and experience could be better for the end user.
Absolutely. Anything that helps the user to understand what's going on or what I have to do to get a number here is more than welcome. Then trust me, they're gonna appreciate it, because you're telling them how to utilize the report. So that's the main thing. All right, but otherwise, very good job. Congratulations in getting to the top 5. Let's go to the next one. So the next submission that has gotten into the top 5 comes from Jason Carl Martin Tubas. So congratulations to you, Jason. And for this one, I'm actually going to give the floor to Federico and Ashish, because, I mean, how much you can hear from me, right? It's time for somebody else to speak.
So go ahead.
First of all, like the one thing I liked about this one is like the color code that he has maintained for the channels. throughout in all the visuals. So you can come to know, like, one is for the small and specialist store, and the other one is, so it's a clear cut distinction, because people tend to use lot many colors in the one. I used to, even though I use sometimes to the single color with the different shades of it. But here the story is different. Here Jason has tried to depict the things with the two colors and keep them same throughout the reports. I think like this, and this is the best thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not the other place, not the other place. Even though one thing is average daily sales, that is also an interesting one. One more interesting thing is this in the first page, all-time sales and volume.
Yep.
That's MM and YOY indicators. So I really like it, because I would always suggest to have some insight, because that gives you the insight, that gives you the chance to pick the, something is going better and something is going bad, some kind of thing. So that's a good part I can see in this one. If you go to average daily sales insight, he has also used like this similar kind of the chart as in the first page. Okay. And this is category analysis and manufacturer analysis. So again, this is wonderful thing, like category analysis, what we see in the earlier report, it was on the first page, but here he has just put it in the inside the second page. Yeah, it's a good one. Trying aesthetically, it is not breaking the colors, almost from the same family, and it represents the candy as well. It's like, so colors are present in the candy and sweets and all. So so I love these things about this, like the same thing, like category analysis, manufacturer analysis. The categories you can compare side by side. Yes, Frederick.
Okay, you know what I love about Jason? It's about his trickery. He used all the tricks that can be in every report he produced. One, the color palette is so candy that I want to eat that report. Can you hover over the donut, please?
Yep.
Look at that. And the other one. And do it again. I could stay half an hour there, and hey, everybody will complain a pie. But that is a pie. That is a big, well done pie chart. Okay, let's go to let me see where I am. Let's go to the second page.
Mm-hmm.
No, the third page, sorry.
In depth, yeah.
In the average daily, go to the average daily, and then you have to go to manufacturing.
Manufacturers, yep.
Okay, all these images he have at the top, he then converted them to a URL.
Yeah.
Okay, and if you go now to the third page, to the table, he got it there. Okay, so the effort, the color palette is just extraordinary. Then one little issue for me. You go to the first page, you hover over the columns at the bottom. I don't know, but it's too big. For me, that how you call that, a tooltip?
Yeah.
Is too big.
Tooltip.
I would have made it a little bit smaller myself, but that is a personal design thing, if you want to call it. Apart from that, it's a beautiful report, and we know Jason. Jason is quite capable, and he have won already a couple of challenges, but I love his trickery. And what he did with the images, you had to create the images. I don't know if you Figma or Canva, I don't know. And then you had to convert into base 64. Put in a table, load it into your data set, and introduce it to that is work, and that has to be commended. And the images are fantastic. overall, it's a fantastic, beautiful, eatful report. Well done, Jason.
Yeah. And one
Absolutely.
wonderful thing I noticed there, use this new slicers. New slicers, see on the first page. Okay, 27
Mm-hmm.
billion, and if you click the revenue, so so as a field parameter, so he has used the field parameter in the new slicers where you can utilize the numbers. You can give the numbers to it. So it's not only you can give the labels to it. So he has used it. So I think so that's a good part. He used all the tricks, which can make the report very
They
interactive
can be
one.
copied.
Yeah.
Absolutely. From my side, I'd say there are two things that I would just want to highlight, right? So the first thing is when it comes to these new cards, it's an amazing feature, but the issue is that a lot of people still don't know about it, so they're never gonna click on it. So
Yes.
until we kind of get to the forum where this is just a common thing that happens in reports, and this is what I've always said, you have to somehow showcase this to the user so he knows. I get it that we have
Yes.
it in the navigational tour, right? Right here, you can see these
Yeah.
metrics and it tells you that you can switch between them, and the guided tour is also there to help you with it, which is great. I commend it. But until I open this, there's no way for me to know that
No,
these are
yeah.
actually active. So
Yeah.
it's one sort of trick that you still kind of have to figure out. Um, so that's
Yeah,
one thing.
that's important point. You have to let us know what that means, otherwise we miss it completely.
Yeah, and this is not just an sort of, yeah, I'd still call it an issue. This is not just an issue in Jason's report. This is what I've saw in a lot of reports that were actually
Oh yes,
submitted.
yes.
And it's one thing that, remember guys, you know it because you made the thing. I'm looking at it for the very first time. How was I supposed to know that you can actually select this? It just
Yeah.
looks like a card. And on
Yeah.
the initial glance, you could say that, yeah, but this is, highlighted with, for example, a rectangle, like a shape over it. Yeah, I think you just missed it.
Exactly.
That's the first impression. You don't know exactly what it is. So a little bit of a kind of a hint would be very beneficial. Just a small little, for example, a star and a little text. Hey, don't forget you can click on the cards to switch between the measures.
Yeah. I
Similar,
think it's
then here.
becoming very
Yeah.
important. Sorry, it's becoming very important that you notify some annotation. No, don't expect me to go and hover over anything to find out what it is
Yeah.
about it. Okay? So it might be better if we look at user experience to actually tell them from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Maybe a small annotation, something that tell them, click me.
Me, exactly.
Okay?
Yeah.
Or hover me. Don't expect them to do it because they might get lost.
Yeah, you have to
Maybe
remember
Jason.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. Avis, what you suggest, like the same thing, like even though I very later stage, but what I would have done it, I usually have the habit of this kind of like the metrics and the numbers, and across the categories if I want to show, I
Mm-hmm.
would put them as a tab for the visuals.
Yeah.
Okay, so one is a selected tab. So that is the way you can do it, and that's a very popular thing. We have noticed it so many times in so many applications, but sometimes if you use.
Yeah, and the reason why that approach I think works is it's because it's something that we are used to. It's basically a bookmark
Yeah,
in a physical book, right? You can see it, it's
exactly,
standing right there. There are two different tabs,
exactly,
so I'm gonna select either that or that. But yeah,
exactly.
otherwise, an amazing report, Jason. There's nothing really much more to add. Very well done.
Well done. Well
Congratulations
done.
in getting to the top 5.
Beautiful.
And yeah, for the
Yeah.
rest of you, same as for before, let us know how you feel about this report. Because it helps us to understand also, what do you think about these things? All right, so the next one that has gotten itself into the top 5 comes from Rakshit Bhadoria. So congratulations to you. So let's open up the report and take a closer look at it. So for this one, me and Federico are going to take a closer look at it. Ashish, of course, if you have anything Don't be a stranger. Go ahead and let us know what you think about it.
Yeah.
From my side, the one thing that I like about this report is that he actually paid attention to the fact that whenever you're switching, for example, from yearly to a monthly view, not only this visual changes, but because the KPIs are connected in the same principle, they also switch. Because otherwise it would be very weird if I, for example, select years and then suddenly there everything is in months, or vice versa, right? You want to make sure that if the same principle changes, you change it everywhere. So it's a lot easier for the user to follow through. So that's one thing. I like the fact that you still follow the same also sort of approach of the line with the white outline and a gray area, so that's good. There's a lot of things sort of hidden in this report, sort of hidden. That's why I explicitly say sort of, right? Like for example, if you hover over the information, here you can see it's the same principle that Jason was using. The cards are actually switches, but there are a few things that I think here are done better. First of all, when I hover over it, there's a change in the view of the card. So it makes me feel like this is something I can select. This is the reason why also on the buttons you have the hover effect, specifically for these cases, to kind of make people feel that this is something that it's active, right? Something you can click on. And this small information icon just basically tells you that these are switches and you can switch between the values. So I like this. This is very well done. I like the fact that you also try to play around with different approaches of field parameters and also different filters, for example. Now, what I mean by this, if we go right here, you can see we have the ability to define what is going to be the top number that we're actually focusing on. So you're giving the opportunity to the user to choose whether you want to play around with only the top 10, for example, or it's the 5, or it's more. You give the user the power. That's great. More power to the user. Trust me, they're gonna love it. Of course, with certain limitations. You don't want to give them too much power. But you also have created these switches right here for bottom and top approach. So this is one of the things that I also like about it. Sure, in this data set you can see, well, we have a different issue that a lot of the values are exactly the same, so it's kind of hard to distinguish, for example, the actual 10 worst products. But it's a good principle that allows you to kind of play around with these. So I like this approach as well. For these ones, you are actually using field parameters, and what the field parameters allow you to do is to define different drill down approaches. And I think this is one of the things that we're gonna start to notice a lot more in the reports, but it's still sort of relatively new, or it's sort of a gray area currently, I would say. Until people get used
Yes.
to it, it feels weird. But it's an amazing approach because it allows me to say that, hey, I want to focus on the package type. I want to divide it afterwards by brand. So the way on how I select these things also defines how I'm going to be able to drill down. So now I'm on package type, click on it, go down to brand. And the user can switch these around. He can add more levels, he can completely change the way things are being shown. It's an amazing idea, but it's very tricky to implement it, and I fully understand it. I've played around this as well with a couple of customers. They like the idea, but it's very hard to explain to them why it's there and how it exactly works, right? So I usually give it them as an option. But same principle is also used here. So you allow the user to just choose what you're splitting this by. And I think this is very good because the more power, like I said, you give to the users, the more they have the basis of analysis there. Without even going to the details page, what else is here is the filter panel, which you also had, Jason. So I love these filter panels. The one thing that I love also here is that whenever you select something, and I think this is something you guys should take a note of, this is amazing because it helps everyone understand exactly what is getting filtered. You just give them the full list of filters being applied. I would probably maybe play around with it a bit more so that I can actually split it in rows based on each of these filters, just so it's a little bit easier to read, so I don't have to read to the whole line of text basically, but it tells me clearly what's getting filtered. And if I close this, you also have this written right here. So the user knows exactly what he's looking at, so I don't have to kind of go back and forth trying to remember, what was those filters that I applied there. It's either here, what I've done as well in my report sometimes is same principle, but just added with small letters basically underneath it, just to give them ideas on how they can look at the data. But At the same time, one thing that unfortunately you oversighted, if I clear the filters, look at the background, I had months selected, but I go back 2 years. This is just because you saved the bookmark in a different state. Remember, guys, play around with all of your bookmarks. It's annoying, I know. I know this. Federico knows this. Ashish probably also knows this. It's annoying, but you have to do it. So,
sorry, I was looking something else.
yeah. But yeah, that's one thing that I would probably think I would really kind of play around, right? As for details page, I think it's very simple. It's ideal in a sense that what you've done here, it allows me again to switch between the hierarchies. But when I hover over, and I think this is ideal amount of information. It's a small window that just allows me to see that particular product, brand, or whatever I have selected. On a monthly basis, I can see the best, the worst month. It's a very quick overview, and I don't need another chart for it. It's in the tooltip. It's very compact, and it gives me a lot of information.
Yes,
But yeah, for me, that's it. Federico.
I'm not a fan of tooltips. You will see not many of the power tooltip because, as you say, it's a chart within a chart. That's it. You go one chart and you bring 3 more. Okay, so some people ask it at work, and we do it. And another serious problem is field parameter. Users are becoming aware of these filters, field parameter, and they want them more and more. But they want it for everything. Okay, hey, let's go back a little bit. We have to use them wisely. Okay, and be able to tell the client, yes, a couple of them is okay, 55 is not good. Plus all the filters and the rest. When I saw the report at first, I actually wasn't attracted to it. But it had grown, okay, with the time, and today I've been checking them for, well, half an hour. It had grown in me, and I love it. It's a very nice, dark thing, yellow, gray, black, and white. You look at the white, it's so telling me, hello, I'm here, and at the same time the yellow is telling me, yes, but I am the boss, I'm the top one. Okay, so it's a beautiful, well-prepared layout. I'm not a fan of this, how do you call this effect, when you click on the manufacturer? Yeah, that effect, when you, how do you call the effect when the button go inside and...
That's sort of yeah.
Well, I'm not very fan of it, but it worked very well here because I think I can look at it like kind of a futuristic candy shop. Okay? That candy shop is an aerospace, in a massive ship on space, and you have all these report. So as I said before, really nice. It wasn't for me until I went through, check it out properly, play with it, and I actually love it very much. Great job. Again, the tooltip on the second page is too much information. I cannot read anything from there. I'm gonna get lost. I'm gonna get lost in there. Yeah, it's too much. But hey, it's another demonstration that you can tell the client, hey, I can do one of these. You want to less information because that is too much information, or whatever you want to. But excellent report, Rashid or Rakesh, well done.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Ashish, anything from your side?
As like the colors are excellent. These are the, I think these are the Federico's colors, because I've seen a lot of, these are the Federico's colors, because I've seen some of like a Novi Pro. If you go like, in inspiration, you will see, I think 2 or 3 similar kind of theme. So, but the only thing is like the only, first is choose the color wisely. Second thing is use them wisely in the proportions. Second thing. Third thing is not only colors can make it beautiful, because what inconsistency I can see here, that's a gaps between visual containers. Okay, at some part it's very too much of gap, at some part it is less. Another thing is, like, if you see the labels like volume, revenue, so it is almost touching the left part of the container. I think Rakshit, Figma or maybe some other background created in the Figma or some other applications. So he might have used the entire background, like he's getting in the background the image, and then he's working on the visuals. Okay, that is one of the approach. That approach is not bad, but you have to be careful with consistent spaces. You have to be very consistent in the spaces, as well as some blank space has to be appropriately used.
Yes, I agree with Achi, but I wanted to make a point about Figma because I use Figma, and if you press Control Alt, it tells you the distance from the right, from the left, and between objects. So it's a very good way to align objects, but you have to have the need, not the need you want to do. You have to go and press and check that everything is organized and aligned properly. I do. And then one thing that is important for me that I like from Figma is that if I create a box in a frame and I click on the box, it's gonna give me the coordinate for where to place the visual in Power BI. So I got my background in Power BI now, and I click on the object in Figma. It's telling me 258x, 140y, and that's the length, and that is that, and they go perfect. Again, it's attention to detail, knowing what you are doing by spending 10 more minutes making sure that everything how it has to be done. Most probably Power BI. We need to ask. He did it on Power BI, PowerPoint or Figma.
Yeah.
Rakshit, we need an answer from you.
Yeah. For me, it's always like PowerPoint, not just the Figma. But even though not PowerPoint, yeah, I'm creating my backgrounds in the Power BI itself. I very less until and unless my client asks to use the Figma. Otherwise,
I usually say it very simply, right? The one that works for you, just keep using it. It's as simple as that.
1 second. If you do a square to put like a box for an object and you click on the box, the object disappears. You have to get off the object for seeing the visual again. And there is a pay in the backside.
Absolutely.
So the time when your team and Miguel Mayas and the Power BI Core Visual team decide to work on the canvas, I know it's being worked on. Oh, Paint, he did it on Paint.
He's the real OG. He knows how to do things.
Don't listen to him, it's goodness. I think Miguel Maya and the team is working on the canvas, and when you can pin object to a place, pin it there, don't move it, okay? And I put an object on top. It doesn't hide because I select the object. I might go back to create in Power BI, but at the moment it's a hassle to create Power BI.
Something like in Coral, and they adopt like you can lock the objects, like so it doesn't move.
Yeah, because theoretically we already essentially every single object is sitting in its own layer. So if we could just say that this layer order has to be maintained every single time, and you cannot get out of it, I think it would help as well with the design part in Power BI itself. Otherwise, you are forced to use backgrounds.
So
there is a tip for
the community. This is the community telling you that you need to vote for Canvas. Next time you go to a meeting with the Power BI Core Visual team, you say, hey, do the flipping Canvas now.
We're not trying to do anything here. No, guys. No. It's just a discussion.
We're not trying to influence anything. No, but he is a community representative, as I was with Ashish before. We represent the community, and that is the voice of the community. That, hey, we would like to work in Power BI, but it's a hassle.
It is.
So fix it.
All right, guys. The last report that has gotten itself into the top 5 comes from Andreas. Congratulations to Andreas. So let's take a closer look at this report, and I think for this one I'll give the floor to Federico and Ashish. Ashish, maybe you want to take a first crack at it.
Yeah, Andreas report is like most eye-pleasing, I would say, in the dark theme. The one we have in the light, that's Zakaria one, and the dark
Hmm.
one, I would say Andreas one, like, because I can see most of the aesthetic elements are being taken care. Like I believe in the like wide enough space, the consistency between the space, as well as we can say the sizes of the elements they are
Hmm.
going, because the sizes are always relative, the sizes you cannot big or small, so everything is looking like very perfectly aligned. And if I'm not wrong, he is also using the similar kind of the trick what Rakshit is doing. Like, he might have created the background initially, and he's placing it on the wallpaper, or maybe the background of the canvas. But still, he's managed to work with the buttons like 2022, 2023. They are perfectly placed. So he is able to work with the space very nicely. And even though he has used this Zoom, whatever Zoom is offering, he's able to use all this drill down and everything very nicely, whatever the Zoom is offering in this report. So for me, this report looks wonderful. Maybe one or two place the same thing what I mentioned earlier. The what is pinching me was the other lecturer. It's on top, because we have only six categories of the manufacturers. What I've learned from all these reports, the
Hmm.
five is the top five, and the rest of people and the others. So I think others has to be the down. That is what I understand. Maybe it could be different for the different, because uh, uh, if you are going following the hierarchy, then Royal has to be the first. So that is what I can see. On the left bottom, I can see like the one he has also used some the quantity and the revenue. I think he has switched as well. What I can see here is, and he can convert those in the no, I think revenue and quantity. The line represents the quantity, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he is using this log. I think logarithmic scale is useful when you have a too much of difference between the numbers. Like one dimension is having very higher number, and the other ones have the very smaller numbers. At that point of time, using logs can make it more meaningful than in this one. But I think you can switch it, so it's default mode is good. Like, yeah, Frederick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in linear by default. Yeah.
Thank you, Ashish. We are running a little bit short time. I love how he made this look in a file. You go to any of the pages, you got this like a file, and then you had 22, 23. It's like yes, a file. You know, when you go to the office, you open the file cabinet, and you have the numbers.
Hmm.
Okay, it's so beautiful. He have worked out that. I gonna argue about that yellow color on the that. I don't know about
Yeah.
that. Apart from that, go to the first page very quickly.
Yep, going.
Click on the donut.
Click on the donut. Yep.
I starting to love the playfulness of visual of the ZoomChart visuals. Do it again. Click on the pinky. It's fantastic. It's, I got a client that told me that I'm not kidding. Say, Federico, I spent just 15 minutes giving to that button because I like what he does. Okay, and I told him as a joke, hey, you need to work. Yeah, don't worry, I'm the boss. And he carry on clicking and showing to me. I love it. I love it. That playfulness, guys, in the design world, okay, if you look better, work better, and mistakes are forgiven, okay, it's 100% truth. So remember, if your report gives the number, It looked great. If there is any mistake, it's gonna be easily forgiven. Everybody made mistakes.
Yeah.
Okay, a fantastic job from Andreas. Well done. Some color style, maybe on my point of view. Apart from that, everything is well created and with dedication.
Absolutely. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move this to the other screen so you guys don't see it. And I actually find the right report, you know, because I don't want to fail here and just announce a different winner.
Okay, the winners. No, one second. We need to do the.
Yeah, I'm just making sure I got everything set up. Okay, I got the screen hidden. Perfect. There we go. Opening up this. Double checking the notes. Seems good. All right, a little bit of a drum roll. And the winner is, if we could see the screen, Rakshit.
Hey,
Hey,
Rakshit,
congratulations.
Congratulations, Rakshit.
It's a really amazing,
well done.
really good job.
Excellent work. But hey, there is nothing to envy for the other participants. All of them have been great reports. And me and Ashish discussing our winning because we FP20 give you the result of our prices later in LinkedIn, and we had different views, different opinions. He told me that, he told him this, the other, that. So again, that is the winner today. Tomorrow might be you, and there is nothing to envy at all from the other reports. All of them, in my view, are winners. But hey, Rashid, congratulations. Well done.
Congratulations, man.
Congratulations,
Yeah,
Rakshit.
I think we don't have any specific questions, so
No
I
questions?
hope... No,
We are
I don't
so
think
good.
we have any. Let me check.
Well, people is asking about, can we get, you go to the ZoomCharts page, you can get the report live there, you can download the report.
Yep.
Please, if you download a report, don't put your link in it like you made the report. That report
Yeah,
belongs to
don't do that.
someone. Yeah, hey, download, study, play with it. If I get you telling that you did that report, I probably will find where you live and go to give you a visit.
Trust me, and for those of us who are in the community and we are seeing a lot of these submissions over time, we can tell which reports are coming from which author and which reports are copied from which author. Every single one of us has a different style on how we create things, so it's very easy to notice things. Like, for example, I can tell you straight away, Jason, with these images, there's nobody else who does this. So as soon as I see these images and this particular style, I know it's Jason. Because I've seen similar images, but not this style, and this is what I associate with Jason.
If you are long in the business, you know who is the reporter.
Exactly.
You know where it's coming from.
Yeah, exactly.
So please enjoy it, download it, keep it, do something similar. But if you bring the same report, and tell me you did it, come on.
Yeah. Main thing is don't afraid to go for it.
Absolutely. So yeah, thank you so much, guys, for spending the time with us, going with us through these reports. I hope it was interesting and you managed to learn something new, which is the most important thing. If you did, we did our job great. We told you who is the winner, and the only thing that's left is to say that we'll see you in the next challenge.